Hello friends, welcome back once again. In today's video, let's talk about the application of insurance by the early African societies in their everyday life. Most of the recorded history of insurance are those that are narrated from Europe and the Americas. What about Africa? Did our ancestors understand insurance? Did they practice it? These are questions whose answers either lie somewhere in the forgotten history books or are yet to be discovered. In my opinion, there are practices that would be considered as putting in place an insurance policy if we were to carefully scrutinize the intentions of these practices and compare them with the results they achieved. The first example is that of friendly families or societies. The early history of insurance talked about the existence of friendly or mutual societies. According to Britannica.com, these were societies that were formed voluntarily by individuals to protect their members by extending mutual assistance to them in circumstances of distress such as during illness, death, or old age, which is the same as medical insurance for illnesses, life assurance for death, and pensions in old age. In early Kenyan societies, the family setup was closely knit, such as an extended family, with an unwritten rule that each family takes care of its own. When a nuclear family loses both parents, leaving behind a child or children, the society through the extended family call upon another family to take in the deceased's children as their own, thereby ensuring that the children left behind are taken care of as if the parents were alive. This was in some way a form of life assurance. Society ensured that the orphaned children were not left on their own. Of course, the stories being told about the experiences of the adopted orphans vary from good to bad to worse, compounded by modernization, moral turpitude, and societal challenges. However, the central point of these practices remains noble as set out by the ancestors. The second scenario is that found in African society's way of life. The synergetic nature of African society is what made two or more individuals pool their resources together and uplift each other economically. Apart from this, they even cooperated in the building of houses and tilling the land, taking care of the children, taking care of animals also known as herding, and well as taking turns protecting each other from enemies at night. From this kind of organization, they also came together to assist one of their own when misfortune struck. When one loses a house through flood, fire, or any other calamity, they come together and contributed resources to rebuild the house. This is property insurance. Through pooling resources from many people to help one person who has suffered a misfortune, the member in question is returned back to the position he or she was in before the misfortune. This is precisely the role of insurance. Premium paid here was in form of a member being active in the society and also pooling resources for the next person. Another example is property ownership and protection. When we talk about property ownership and protection, one particular practice relating to livestock or domestic animals comes to my mind. There existed, and I would bet that it still does, a practice where a person who owned a large herd of cattle, goats, or chickens would take a few of his or her flock and give them to another family member or a friend who lived far away for them to take care of the deposited livestock to be collected back someday. In my local Luo dialect, we called this practice sending livestock to another. Other than the fact that this practice created space where there is crowding and ensure feeding grounds are not depleted, it also ensured that the livestock owner would be able to build back the herd or flock by recalling the deposited livestock after the loss of his herd or flock through calamities such as plagues or cattle rustling. This is property insurance, later developed as livestock insurance. This was an ingenious idea since through their own experience, they learned that plagues would affect one locality at a time. Therefore, this practice ensured that part of the herd or flock that is not in the affected locality was protected. And just like in insurance, the person temporarily taking care of the livestock would get to keep and use the livestock products, and as a rule in some cases, they retain one offspring as a rule for his troubles. There are other practices like mixed cropping, planting two different types of crops, i.e. maize and beans, where one crop was meant to protect against failure of the main crop, thereby ensuring that the family still harvests some food for consumption. This is family income protection. I bet there is a policy for that in form of life assurance. These are a few examples of what I got from my research. However, this is a learning process, and I will definitely come back with more examples. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this article. Are there other examples we can add? Comment and let us know, and I will mention them in the next video. In the meantime, subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss content like this.